Hi, it's Andy from PCR Global with one of my weekend catch-ups. Not done one of these for a few weeks because we've been pretty busy. There's Ian out on the ground as usual with Matthew from Axiom Process. Absolutely fantastic. You know, I always like to start with a few photographs. Myself and Phil have been out. It's great getting outside with Phil. We were out, I think it was last week, on site, really good. He comes up with some great ideas. He's got a wealth of knowledge, so really appreciative. There's the three of us with Rian. Rian, I'm just noticing every time I see you in a photograph, you've got different hair. Maybe I have too, sometimes long, sometimes short. Andrew Collins sporting a tidy barnet, as well as Steph. Not everybody in there, of course. So what we've been up to, this was the Corporate Risk Essentials. See what I mean, Rhi? Can you see what I mean? With Angela, Lisa, Stephen and Rachel Garrett. Also our guys Steph and rejoined with us. Fantastic course, love delivering that. We've got another one coming up on the 5th of June if you're interested. What's been really good this week is catching back up with Angela and Stephen and listening to how they're applying what we covered on that course into their own business. Really, really good. Fantastic people, really fantastic course as well. Just flying through what we have here. John Hughes, IOSH Managing Safely. The Managing Safely course is absolutely fantastic. We teach loads of these. There are loads of really good providers around the UK delivering this. My only advice is going to be, don't do it online on your own. Do it with a tutor so you can ask loads of questions. It's a fantastic course. If you're a manager who haven't done this, I really, really recommend you do it. There's Andrew Collins sorting out Rian with all the new gadgets. Stephen, wrong. Ian, got to be a LinkedIn post. PCR's top consultant in Wales. That's his Monday trip out when he goes out to do his study. Fantastic, mate. I know you love getting out and about. We got triple STSs have been going on with John. Again, everybody smiling. SMSTS refresher this time. We've got, not sure what that is. That could be IOSH Managing Safely. We got John out and about on the ground. Fantastic. Ian out about on the ground, and it's so important just getting out and about. So the guys, they do the teaching, we do our teaching, but we're also out on the ground keeping up the speed. Not sure what John is doing there, but he's certainly explaining something in depth to us. Fantastic. So passionate. What else has been going on? I'm going to show you a standard. It is the BS, British Standard EN 62198, Project Management, Risk Management. It's risk in projects, basically. So let's have a look at it. £123 to buy. It's a lot of money, of course, but let's have a look at it here. So here's the standard, managing risk in projects. So would you think that this document, 2014, is going to refer to ISO 31000 for definite? Remember the big three, 31000. Principles, framework, and the risk management process. Principles are so important. Why? Because if you don't know what the principles are, you will never identify that they are missing in an organisation. So it's important to learn the principles. I can't remember the principles in here. I do know the principles from 31000 though. So managing risk in projects. Principles, the project risk management framework. Remember, it's all about a framework. If we jump into 31000, it is about the framework. There is the framework. Remember, what is the framework? It's like a tent. You have to keep the structure up. We have to have those activities, those protocols, those things we are doing. There's the framework. Understanding the project, establishing the project management policy. Again, think about it. If we don't have a policy whereby we're identifying roles, responsibilities, and what we're going to do, then ultimately it is just ad hoc. And if it works, you're lucky, and because it's usually not going to work. If you've got any type of plan, whether it's a risk management plan or a business continuity plan, what comes before that? There's got to be some type of analysis, and there's got to be some type of policy giving the mandate from the organisation. Mandate and commitment used to be big words in ISO 31000 2009. Establishing the context. So we know context, internal, external, defining the risk criteria. What are the risk criteria? They are what we are going to gauge something against. We need those criteria to compare. Same as a risk, any type of risk assessment. The big three, identification, analysis, and evaluation. That's part of the risk assessment process, as it still is. Really important. Project risk management plan. Without a plan, how can we expect people to know what they've got to do, when they're going to do it, what resources they've got to do it, by what time they've got to do it? Really important to have a plan. As they say, no plan survives first contact. As we also say, a plan is nothing, or Eisenhower says anyway, not me. A plan is nothing, planning is everything. So even if you've got that plan, there's a business continuity plan. Yeah, it's been done by who? Involving whom? Based on what? No, it's the planning that matters. Get everybody in a room, get the planning done, then put it in the plan and review the plan. The project risk register, that's a repository. A repository where we can go back and we can see what's going on in there. So quite a good document, a lot of stuff in there. Here we go, framework, 31,000, scope, distribution, costs, simple risk register structure. Shall we have a look at that? Yes, we'll have a look at that. But also, I want to get to work breakdown structure. What is a work breakdown structure, or a project breakdown structure? I've been working with some organisations lately with work breakdown structures. Why? Picture this. You go to an organisation, you have your eyes closed. That's what's happening in the organisation. People are doing things in different departments, and then you get given a lot of policies or procedures to read. It's all in words. Difficult. If you put that into a work breakdown structure or a department breakdown structure, call it what you want, you can then put them in little funnels. Now, you're not making people work in silos, but you put in what they do in funnels or in themes or in stages or in phases, whatever it is. But then somebody can sit back and they can look at that. They can see how it's broken down. So it's like the ground, 30,000 feet off the ground. But then underneath that, you will have your work breakdown dictionary. So if when a department kicks off 1.1, then underneath that 1.2, this is what happens. The flow goes 1.3, 1.4, then it goes into 2.1. Then we can bring those 2.1s down the bottom and we can actually fill that up with some information, saying what work instructions we use, saying what risks or opportunities are attached to it. So work breakdown structures are very important as well. Risk analysis, look, this is exactly the same. Risk evaluation. So we are now virtually on track for just following ISO 31,000, aren't we? Because that's what's in there. Anything else interesting in here? Let's have a look. Stakeholder analysis, always important. Who are you working with? Communication. How often do you need to communicate with them? What method do you need? If you're on a project and you haven't got a formal communications plan, then ultimately, again, it's ad hoc and it's not going to work, is it? Everybody's going to be guessing. So you have to take the bull by the horns and formalise that communication structure so people can recognise it. So a really good document. That just shows there. It shows the risk management scope, talks through it. You can see the elements. Very, very good. Risk criteria again. Key elements. What's this? Key elements for a communication system project. So what is going on? Going through it. Bit of description, some notes. Again, if you've got this written down, it really, really helps. So what am I going to do now? I'm going to say how good that document is, but then I'm going to dive back into 31,000 to finish off. The risk management process. This is the process we should have in our minds all the time. It is iterative. What does that mean? It is continual. It keeps on going. There's no beginning, there's no end, there's not even a middle. There's just parts inside of it. This is parts, all parts thereof. There you go. So think about the scope, the context, the criteria. What is the scope? What are we talking about for this risk management process? Are we doing health and safety risk management in an engineering company? Are we doing project risk management on a really big project? That's talking about, that leads into our context. It gives us the context of what is actually going on, which also then is going to give the criteria. The risk assessment, made up of identification, analysis and evaluation, really important. Again, if we're doing a noise risk assessment, if we are doing a manual handling or a working at height risk assessment, very specific in its own right. But we're always going to do hazard ID. Remember, hazard identification. Once we've identified it, we can analyse it. If we haven't identified it, we won't analyse it. If we're rushing, we won't do any of it. If nobody's even thought about applying risk management, we won't do any of it, and it's only going to go right by chance. But let me tell you, it's going to be chaos. It's simple. And if people aren't saying it's chaos to your face, I can tell you they're saying it's chaos behind your back. Simple as that. Risk evaluation. We've done our analysis. Now we're going to evaluate it against everything else that we know is going on. We're going to treat it if need be, recording and reporting. If we don't put it down in writing, it's going to go away. Then we're going to reinvent the wheel every week. Get it in writing, get that risk register in, review that when you're doing your meetings. You know, if you're going to put a new risk in it, R1, R5, R6, but people have to be thinking about it. They have to be focused on it. If you're doing departmental risk registers, exactly the same. Strategic, departmental, project, whatever it is, get them down so they become a focus point. Comms, communication and consultation. Two different words. Communication, upward communication, downward with your policies, upwards with your feedback. Policies on the wall, emails, how are we going to communicate? But that certainly is not consultation. A lot of organisations do a lot of communication from the top down by telling you, you will do this. Consultation is involving people. It is sitting back, it is actively listening, and it's taking in what they're saying. And then by capturing what they're saying and how they feel, we can apply that back into the system of work and then hopefully improve. People will feel involved, sometimes even empowered, but ultimately you will get that magical information out. Moving on, monitoring and review. How are we monitoring? Who is monitoring? Is the site manager, is the supervisor, project manager, project coordinator monitoring it as it's going along? But monitoring is different from review. Review is when we're going to do that, plan, do, check and act. We're going to sit back. We're going to say, right, how have we done? Get the lessons learned log out. Get the daily occurrence book out. Get the quality criteria back out. The quality management log, the near miss reports, the opportunities register. Really important. So this is such a fantastic process, the risk management process. So that's it. Thank you very much. We talked a little bit about project risk. We had a look at a few photographs. I told you how much that costs. All in all, really happy, really busy couple of weeks. A lot of people stepping up to the plate and delivering. Really important. Everybody's safe, everybody's healthy, and most importantly, everybody's happy. Thank you very much for watching. Don't trust it, test it.